Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes normally watch the newest streaming movies or films in theaters and discuss them, but today we're getting ready for the new upcoming Matrix Resurrection. So today we're going to be discussing The Matrix, The Matrix Reloaded, and The Matrix Revolutions in order. We're going to stick to a pretty strict thing on that, and very excited for the upcoming film. I'm your co-host, Alec. Sorry, Justin.
I'm Eric. Just kidding. It's Justin. And for the people that listen to this, I'm going to do that literally until Eric returns. So
Perfect. Yeah. I love it. Even for a podcast that he's never even been on.
Yeah, Sarah, my girlfriend asked me. She's like, "Are you going to do that every episode?" I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "There's nothing to get."
It's not for you.
It's for me. I'm doing this for me. Okay, anyway, moving on.
I love it. All right. So potentially one of the best movies ever made. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh shit. Okay, we're starting off. Okay. Dude, 1999.
Boom.
Brings me back to better times. It's been out for like what, 21-ish years at this point?
I guess 22 now. Yeah, March 1999 was when it was released.
I mean, we were on the cusp of becoming 10 years old when this came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly when I saw it. I definitely didn't see it in theaters because I was like, 9. I remember watching it. I probably saw it on like TNT or FX. And at that age, you don't understand like the deeper concepts behind it.
No.
But I've probably seen this movie. It's one of my favorite films. I can probably confidently say that it's top 3 of like.
Whoa!
I have 2 Matrix tattoos, which I'll discuss
Oh
a
shit!
Later on.
I didn't know that.
One's a tramp stamp. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I have follow the rabbit hole on my lower back.
Oh shit!
No, I'm kidding.
What do you have? Just tell me what you have.
No, you gotta wait.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I've probably seen it. Let's just say 20 times, which, if you think about it, is once per year, which isn't bad. It's not bad.
That's great.
One of the things I love is not even 5 minutes into this film. It's at like minute 2. Trinity is whooping the shit out of 10 cops.
Oh yeah.
Just spanking them.
Well, similar to what you said just before we jump into the movie a little bit. Yeah, like, dude, I remember my dad was obsessed with this movie when it came out, and he showed it to me way too young. I remember he bought the DVD and we watched it. And I same as you, like, I was just like, there's guns and there's shooting and like, oh my God, this is so cool. But I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Was it DVD? Did they have DVDs in 99?
Yeah. First DVDs came out, I think, like 97 or 98. I remember I still have Analyze This on DVD from 1998.
I mean, why you own Analyze This is a different discussion.
Well, no, because it's a relic. It's a relic now because it's like an original DVD. But
these shoes.
Is that? That's from the movie, right?
Robert De Niro,
yeah, Billy Crystal. But yeah, same thing, dude. And I never really thought about it. And I'll never forget, like, we were in science class one time, and our teacher, I can't remember who it was, but I was in middle school, and he was like, theoretically, the Matrix could be real. And then I remember when he said that, then it made me really get into it, and I like wanted to, I wanted to understand what was going on, and then I got way wicked into these movies. But the first one, dude, starts off just like, who is this badass woman? She can fucking destroy everything. The agents are just like, she's already, if your men are in there, they're already dead.
It's for your protection. Well, one of the first things I was thinking of is, how uncomfortable do you think some of these actors were wearing like tight black leather for like 15 hours of shooting daily?
Oh yeah, dude. Trinity is
just sweating in it, just like a pool of sweat in your leather suit. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, they look cool. Everybody looks so badass, and they're fucking like Lawrence Fishburne's little glasses. Like, they look stupid on anybody else, but on him they look awesome. Yeah, dude. The outfits in this movie, like, I mean, everything about this movie just like changed culture, dude. Like, so many people were spoofing this. Every like Charlie's Angels and Scary Movie and that Kung Pao Enter the Fist. There's so many spoofs of this.
I mean, how many movies since this has come out has done some form of Matrix referencing, either running up walls or like the famous like holding in midair while kicking thing. It's referenced
Oh,
in like over 20 movies
oh my
easily.
god, dude, like, that's the thing, there was, like, 1999 before The Matrix, then 1999 after The Matrix, where it's like, okay, CGI's gotta step it up, we gotta have really, really sick, like, fighting scenes and martial arts stuff, and the one-liners, like, looking back now, they seem a little cheesy, but back then, dude, when he was like, "I know kung fu." Like, that stuff, it's cheesy now, but, like, back then, it was like, yo, that, like, inspired those cheesy one-liners that we have in, like, the Marvel movies and the Fast and the Furious movies now. This helped kind of, like, helm that, so it didn't seem as cheesy back then.
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking is like they're all wearing these dope outfits, right? Like black leather trench coats, fucking they all look so slick. And you can hack friggin' Dozer or no Tank can do
Yeah,
anything you want. You can learn kung fu. You want to learn BJJ, you want to learn taekwondo, you can learn it in 5 seconds.
yeah.
Not one person was like, "Can I get a bulletproof vest?"
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, because they go to that one room, it's like, "What do we need?" It's like, "Guns," and they just, like, every gun that's ever existed appears, and it's like, "Hey, should we get, like, really good Kevlar or something?" It's like, "No,
Can
no,
I
no,
get
no."
like knee pads? Like, because I
But
slide and it hurts my knees.
they don't need it though, if you think about it, because like, well, I guess Neo doesn't because he should be able to
Well,
do anything.
everyone who dies there. So like all the normal people like Trinity, Cypher, APOC, I would get a bulletproof vest. I don't know.
Yeah, if you weren't the one.
Right. And dude, just like in the beginning, the agents are so intimidating. Like they're just walking around with these badass suits on. They got earpieces, glasses, which I'm not sure why. Like robots who are perfect beings would need glasses, but it's besides the point. It's besides
No,
the point.
well, dude, that's like reality though. Like that's like Men in Black. Like that's that whole like, oh, like who are these people that just show up everywhere? It's like they could be these people. They could be Matrix agents, you know?
Yeah, and like another like I've seen this movie so many times, and like I was telling you, every single time I watch it, I catch something new. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And like I was just thinking, like Trinity and Morpheus are so badass. They're like, Morpheus is like the main guy. He's like the most recognized captain in the fleet, and he teaches Neo. He's kind of like a Qui-Gon Jinn of the Matrix universe.
Yeah.
And even as badass as he is, no match for the agents.
Yeah. I mean, well, they all say they're like, if you ever get in a fight with an agent, just run. Because like you can't beat them basically. And Neo couldn't even beat them until he died, and then Trinity like resurrected him. Like he
Yeah.
couldn't even do it. So yeah, man, there's so much to go into. But the first thing that I noticed, I want to see same thing. Like I notice something new every time this time too. You hear Cypher and Trinity talking on the line. It's like, you think this is him, and like all that stuff. Dude, do
Hmm.
you notice the numbers that it goes in between in the beginning?
What do you mean?
So the camera's like going, you see the Matrix numbers like all on the screen or whatever. You hear the voiceover of Cypher and Trinity, and then the
Mhm.
camera goes through these numbers, and it goes in between the numbers 5 and 6. It goes into a 0 between the 5 and 6. And I don't want to talk about the sequels too much, but they say in that one, this is the 6th time the Matrix has been reset. And they even talk about it in this one a little bit too, where it's like the first Matrix we did was perfect and people didn't believe it or whatever. So I was like, holy fuck. I don't know if this is something they
Okay.
did
So you
later, but
you
it's like,
you
what?
think they indicate in the first one because in the third one the architect says it's the sixth one. You're saying you think they did that in the first one?
I think maybe, yeah, maybe they went back and wrote it in after. They're like, hey, it's kind of weird that we go in between these 5 and 6 or whatever. But it's like the movie, the first thing you see is the camera flying between the numbers 5 and 6. And this is the sixth
Oh.
iteration of the Matrix, which we find out later. But even in this movie, in the first one, when Agent Smith is beating the shit out of Morpheus upstairs, he's like, people didn't believe the first Matrix because it was
Yeah,
too
yeah.
perfect. So they
Right.
do indicate that this is not the first time this has happened. Yeah.
One of the first things I noticed was within like 10 minutes of the film when he was doing that like random drug deal where he handed someone like a floppy disk to the
Yeah.
people at his door. That guy made so many references while talking to him. Like he said, "Oh, you're a real savior. You're my own personal Jesus Christ." Which,
Right.
like, I've actually read. It's called "Take the Red Pill." It's a Matrix philosophy book, and if you haven't figured it out, which I'm sure most people have, Neo is like a direct representation of Jesus.
No, no
No,
way.
what a twist! Being resurrected, etc. So I thought that was cool. And then obviously the white rabbit on the chick's back,
Mhm.
and the guy was like, "You just need to chill, man. You got to unplug." And I was like, "Haha, the Matrix." And
Right.
it's just cool how we reference that. Like it's almost like the Matrix was telling him he's in the Matrix. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing, like, all right, so This is, like, I guess, a question I have then about this movie, maybe you can answer it. The movie starts off where it's basically we don't really know much about Thomas Anderson, like, who that man is. He's, like, a lonely, like, 36, 37-year-old hacker guy, and he doesn't know what the Matrix is, but he knows it's a thing, and he also is tracking Trinity and Morpheus and, like, whatever weird Ocean's 11 bank heist shit they're doing, which I don't really understand what they're doing. It's like Morpheus is at Heathrow. It's like, why? What's he doing? Anyways. Oh, maybe they're I don't know, whatever. So they're looking for Thomas Anderson because they think he's Neo, but Neo is also becoming self-aware within the Matrix, it seems. And the agents are coming after him, but they don't really know why they're coming after him. Is it because he's like sort of becoming a sentient human in the Matrix?
The way I understood it was he is aware of Trinity and Morpheus, but I think he just thinks they're like deep government hackers who are
Yeah,
like in the digital like black market realm, like the big guys.
right.
And I think the agents are aware of him because they who are tracking like Morpheus and his crew know that they are trying to reach out to Thomas Anderson and they want to know why. Which is
Right.
why when they arrested him, they just put like that tracking bug instead of just killing him. If they knew he was like quote unquote the one, they would have just snapped his neck.
You're right. You're right. And
So they
Morpheus
wanted to,
says that. He says that later. He's like, if they knew
yeah,
what I knew, you'd be dead already. Yeah.
they wanted to track him to see if maybe he would go to Morpheus and they didn't know where they were. So that was a cool concept. It's kind of like everyone knew of everyone, but they didn't really know why they knew of everyone.
Right. God damn it, dude. This movie is
Right?
so good.
Yeah,
It's
right?
it's scary because it's like it's probably not real, but like it could be real. Like we
Well,
really could be in a simulation right now.
I wanted some of the things that the book references, and also this movie's based off like first of all the Wachowskis and whoever wrote the script and all that stuff. I
There's
feel
them.
like I feel like they trapped themselves in a room and they were like, all right, guys, we have some of the finest quality LSD you could buy. We're gonna get high as fuck and write this script because dude, there's like no other film like it, even remotely close to this concept.
Joe Testa actually wants us to talk about a movie called Dark City and how that movie apparently a lot of people say The Matrix ripped that off. It came out in 98.
Joe? I'm gonna look it up right now. Dark City.
Yeah, it's it,
A
it's got
man
Kiefer Sutherland.
a man struggles with memories of his past, which include a wife he cannot remember and a nightmarish world no one seems to wake up from. Okay, Joe, we're gonna no.
Some critics have noted its similarities and influence on the Matrix films, whose installment came out 1 year later. I have never seen it, so we're gonna put it on the next wheel, and we're gonna just actually talk about it. But
Okay, I'm cool
uh,
with that. I'm cool with
yeah, yeah. But again, I haven't seen Dark City. The Matrix is fucking awesome. Whatever. But dude,
that.
like realistically, I mean, if somebody's had to say to you right now, do you think you're in a simulation?
Well, like I was saying, this movie is based off the simulation theory,
Oh, right, right, right.
which if no one knows what that is, it's there's a couple different concepts within it. One that like there's a supercomputer that's like we're basically the Sims or like aliens are controlling us. But one of the things the book references, and like most people think this is crazy if you even mention it, like I'm sure we've all fallen as kids, like off our bikes or like down the stairs and hit our head. How do you know when you hit your head that you haven't gone into a coma and like you've been on life support for 20, 30 years and everything that's happening right now is just your imagination?
Yeah, I mean, there's
You
no way to
don't.
really know that.
There's no way.
Exactly.
All the things that happen to you during the day, like when you go to work and you run into that coworker who's just like, oh, it's a Monday, like you're subconsciously creating that
Right.
to just to like annoy yourself. And then the concept is like, why would you do that? Why would you purposely annoy yourself if you're creating it?
Dude, well, all right. So that's the thing. Watching this movie, like, it like freaks me out. It like really makes me like question reality and shit. And I was like thinking of this idea, like, what if everything is not real? Like, you're not real to me, and I'm not real to you. Like, literally every like the second that we end this podcast, you cease to actually exist. You only exist when you're interacting with me, and vice versa. Like imagine like you are the center of the universe. I know it's kind of like a egotistical thing to say, and I'm not thinking that, but this movie makes me think of shit like that where it's like Eric doesn't exist, nothing exists unless you're actually interacting with it, and what you're interacting with is your subconscious projecting me to you basically.
Whoa, man.
Dude,
It's Eric's listening to this like, wait, what?
I'm not real.
So you're essentially saying if a tree falls and no one hears it, did it really fall?
Seriously though, yeah, that's basically kind of, yeah, that's what this movie makes me think of.
Yeah, and that's why it's such an awesome concept because there's so many aspects. There's like the religious aspect of him being Jesus.
Yeah.
There's the fact that like, is any of this real? Do aliens control us? Is this just one big like video game? And I gotta believe, dude, they had to be like, I don't know, drinking or smoking peyote or something when they wrote this.
Yeah.
Uh, Another cool thing I noticed watching this was when he was late to work and his boss was like, having a meeting with him, and
Mhm.
he sounded identical to Agent Smith. He said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Mr. Anderson, do you have a problem? You act like the rules don't apply to you," and that he wasn't obeying the company's policies. And that's kind of like, it sounded exactly like Agent Smith saying like, you're not obeying the rules of the Matrix by like
Right.
taking the blue pill and remaining asleep. And it was kind of cool because if you think about it, Agent Smith, his boss, they're all just like fake creatures of the architect's design. So it's just like
Right.
one computer doing all this.
You're 100% right because the way that the boss is reprimanding him for what being late, like come on. Like he's acting like this is a really big deal. But yeah, it is. It's the agent basically being like get in line. Who do you think you are? Because maybe he knows that Anderson is kind of about to figure it out. Like he's toying with the idea.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I also love how, we don't know exactly what year it is, but we assume it's about 100 years from now, and the planet's basically destroyed because of the war with the AI and the humans or whatever. But it's almost like, what's the point for the AI at that point? Like the planet's so fucked up and destroyed, like they're not even. What are they doing? In the
I
real
mean,
world?
they're just surviving.
I guess, but like, what
Like
if?
they're just doing the same thing we're doing. They're just living. What are we doing?
I know.
What's
Yeah.
the point of any of this?
Well, they talk about like Agent Smith says to Morpheus is like just like the dinosaurs, like we're here now, and it's like
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean he says humanity's a virus and a plague, and it's kind of like we're not really mammals, I guess if you think about it, because yeah, a cat or a dog is just kind of like whatever, I'm here, I'm existing. It's not gonna like build a submarine and be like we need to go under the ocean. It's yeah, we are weird. Humans are weird.
Yeah. Another favorite scene for me is when Neo was in the police station and Agent Smith is like, how can you make a phone call if you're unable to speak? And that was the first time in the movie where like Neo actually, he knew. I mean, he thought it was a dream when he woke up, but like Agent Smith made it very clear to him that like, this isn't real. I have the ability to like sew your mouth.
Mm. No, that is it. And then it's the reality's confirmed when there's that thing in his stomach, that sentinel thing, and they find
Yeah.
it.
Speaking of the tracker thing in your stomach, something that didn't make sense to me, which I never thought of before this, was your belly button, unless I'm mistaken, is not like a hole. It's like
No.
closed.
Yeah.
So when they sucked that thing out, like that thing was fucking huge. How did it come out? I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to assume it's some futuristic technology that can maybe like solderize the wound and heal it quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was smaller inside, but if it came out that size, it would have like ripped, like alien style, ripped his stomach open.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just gonna chalk it up to some unknown technology, that takes that into consideration. That it's like, hey, listen, we could do this, but it's gonna rip his spleen out. It's like, well, we should figure a different way out then.
we
Uh,
we should probably make this better.
well, all right. So another question I had kind of about the Matrix is like, so they're existing in 1999, but like, I mean, because they need telephones to be able to go through the Matrix, to be able to actually, they pick up this phone, they can come back to
Mm.
reality and then go through the Matrix. What if the year
You'd
was like
you'd think,
1800?
yeah, you'd think the Matrix would be like, let's just do this in 1776, so they could never potentially figure it out.
Right, and it's almost like maybe that's why the Matrix has to get reset because the simulation, the Matrix, becomes too self-aware that it starts inventing technology that allows people in the reality to transfer into the Matrix. So it's like, why not just? I guess you can't perpetually stop time though. It's like you can just reset it, but every time you reset it, does it go back to like?
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool concept, dude. What if each iteration of the Matrix, they started at the dawn of the human species and they're like, okay, like we have like, I don't know, 1,000 robot years until they become smart enough. It's almost like humans created AI, which became so smart that they became self-aware, and then AI created these fake humans to feed them, and they eventually become so smart that they then fight back.
Right, they become self-aware, like virtual reality and the internet and all this stuff. It's like we're trying to make second lives on the internet, but what if we're already in a second life right now? It's like, fuck this fucking movie, dude.
Fuck this fucking movie,
Dude.
dude.
All right. So the other thing I just want to mention, and whatever, roll your eyes, controversial, fuck you. Um, dude, when Morpheus is sitting there and he's explaining what humans are, he's like, I saw with humans' eyes, like we're taken and put into these machines and used for our energy. We're not living or whatever. I'm like, it's kind of what we do with factory farming. It's like humans aren't
Here
born,
we
they're
go.
made. And I was just like, that's fucking what cows are. They're just like made to make milk and just be used for their fucking body parts. And they're like showing this baby. It's so sad. I'm like, that's like a veal calf. I'm like, oh, fuck this. But anyways, off my vegetarian rant. I just want to note the comparabilities between what factory farming is doing and what the Matrix is. But if there's music and all these lights and stuff, and we're like, we tricked and we
Meat,
feel bad.
meat is murder.
It is whatever. Anyways, back to it.
But technically, that like he kind of contradicted himself because Zion does create real humans still.
They do. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
also very weird. And how does that? So like Tank kind of makes some references where he's like, "Ooh, Mikey likey." Like that's a Life cereal joke, isn't it?
It's something
How
which
would
I'm
he know
not.
that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does he watch
Oh,
The Matrix for references in that reality to make jokes about?
gee, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good point though. I'm sure you haven't noticed the actor Mouse
Yeah.
he was in the Clone Wars.
Who's he on it?
Dude, he was remember when they were chasing the changeling bounty hunter and
Yeah.
they go into a bar and the guy's like, "You want to buy some death sticks?"
Oh yeah.
That's him, dude.
Really?
Is
That's
that
funny.
cool?
That
And
is
then
pretty cool.
Obi-Wan's like, "You want to go home?" He's like, "I want to go home."
The funny thing is, like, he could walk around and be like, he's like, "Oh, you're an actor." It's like, "What have you been?" It's like, "Oh, I was in The Matrix. I was in Star Wars." People are like, "No way!" And it's like, "Who were you?" It's like, I was like this guy." They're like, "I don't remember him." It's like, "Fuck. I was this
Fuck.
guy." But
Like,
like, good
oh,
for him, dude.
okay.
That's a sick resume though to be like, "Yeah, I was in The Matrix and a
Oh
Star
yeah.
Wars movie." That's
Yeah,
fucking
that's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Dude, that's sick though. Good for him. Yeah, his character, dude, I liked him. I thought honestly the funniest line in the whole movie is when he's telling Neo, he's like, "Listen, if you ever want to be alone with
I
that woman in
know.
red,"
I
and they're just
know.
like, "Oh, here we go," and they're like, "Don't listen to the hypocrites." And I was like, "Oh, I want to know about the hypocrites. I want to hear about
Oh.
their
Yeah,
fucking."
all those guys go up to Mouse after dinner and they're like, "Mouse, can I get like I need like 15 minutes."
Yeah, it's like, you can hook me up with Scarlett Johansson. It's like, I got you. It's like, come on. It's like, yeah, you make fun of me at dinner with Neo. It's just like, I'm sorry. It's like, yeah.
And then they go to like the white room and Dozer's like, "What do you need?" And they're like, "Pack of condoms."
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Pack of condoms and a Viagra, Dozer. He's like, "All right, hacking you in."
Oh my god, yeah. So here's the other thing, the Sentinels, in reality, so they're trying to like, is it really that hard to find the last human city on Earth and to track them? Is it really that hard?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm no fucking like earthologist, but I can't imagine that the Earth. I mean, the center of the Earth is like eventually over time. I feel like all these Sentinels would find them, or they have like maybe they're so close to the center they can't use like heat vision to find them because they just see the core. I feel like
Yeah.
they'd find them eventually,
Right.
but
That's all they do.
they were also like kind of protected. Like there was no direct opening because there's a gate that closes, which is why the Sentinels had to like laser through it in the third one.
Right, but
So
still.
maybe they were so busy like farming and they're like, they're not really doing like that much damage.
They're
I
doing
don't
a
know.
lot of damage. They're trying to shut the whole thing
Okay.
down.
First of all, you're being a hypocrite right now because every time we watch a scary movie, and the people who listen can attest to this, and I'm like, why would they go down the hole that they know? You're like, well, then it wouldn't be a scary movie. Just
This is
okay.
not, you cannot hold Friday the 13th Part 5 to the same standards as The Matrix, okay? Like,
I
The
know,
Matrix has to be, like, waterproof, man. I wanna make sure that there's not one hole, which I'm sure there is, but I don't know, man. I was just thinking about that.
Oh, not sure if you realize this, and I know this is technically going into the second one, which this is the only time we're gonna do this. Do you ever wonder why Tank wasn't in the second one on the
No,
Nebuchadnezzar?
yeah, why isn't he?
Yeah, Google it sometime.
Oh,
It's
uh-oh.
not good. Basically, there were issues with the actor, and he was upset about pay, and he caused a big scene, and they were like, "Just get the fuck out of here."
The Crispin
Um,
Glover effect.
he basically made references. He's like, "Why am I not getting paid as much as like Keanu Reeves and
Dude.
Lawrence Fishburne?" And it's like, are you serious?
That's exactly what Crispin Glover did in Back to the Future. That's why he wasn't in Back to the Future 2 and 3 is because he was like, "I deserve as much as, everybody," and,
Which
I
is
don't know.
so dumb because I don't know, I just feel like this is such a cool series, like, did you really think you're gonna make as much as the main actor, as the driver?
Exactly, and looking back, I'm sure he's probably like, "Fuck, like,
I
that could
know,
have
I
led to
know.
so many new roles and all this other stuff," and
Especially because I don't know if you know this, but Keanu Reeves did a bunch of cool shit. Like, he bought, like, everyone after the first one or second one, like, a Harley Davidson bike.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Like, all you had to do was shut your mouth, you would have been paid. The residual checks from this, I'm assuming, are pretty good, I don't know, and then you woulda got a bike, and you probably
Yeah.
would have been the 3rd one, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, behind the scenes shit, yeah, it's I mean, there's so
Let's
much.
let's talk about Joe Pantaleone. Pantoliano. What a good villain, dude.
Oh, yeah, I mean
Cypher, like, you could tell when you see Morpheus's crew and you look at Cypher and you're like, "That guy kinda looks like a dirty fuck." And as an Italian, I can say this, I was looking at him, I was like, "You dirty Italian." I was like, "You're up to something."
oh my god. No, I mean, it's funny because the first thing you notice is, like, when Neo walks in, it's, "Jeez, Neo, you scared me," and then he, like, clicks the computer off really quick, you're like, What's he doing?"
You know what the best part about that? I'm watching the movie and I wanted Neo to be like, if the Matrix isn't real, he's like, how do you have like a Brooklyn accent? He's like, I don't know. This isn't even real. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. It's a movie.
No, well, it reminded me of, Team America where, like, he comes in, he's like, "He's a fucking piece of shit. Who is this asshole? He's not the one," like, sort of thing, and he's like, "I love Trinity," and it reminded me of Team America kind of,
Yeah.
but
All right. That's fair.
yeah, but
Yeah, he was
he's
he
a good
was a
villain.
great villain. I thought I mean, obviously it sucks because he kind of like, fucked it up for everybody. And
He was gonna
yeah,
destroy the like, he's, like, essentially confirming humanity's gonna die.
yeah, he was literally going to kill the remaining people of humanity just so he could like he's like it's just too much. Like I'd rather be not on this ship.
He's like,
And
"I
he
like
made it
steak too much. I like the way
he's
steak tastes."
yeah, and he didn't even finish it either, that motherfucker. Like it was like half finished. But dude, it just goes. They made references in the beginning too when he was like, it was just him and Neo, and he was like, "Don't you wish you took the blue pill?" And I was like, "Ah, you bastard,
Yeah.
you bastard."
Yeah.
Um, no, do you think when they were in the walls hiding from the agents and Cipher coughed, do you think it was actually due to dust, or he was like trying to get the cops'
Oh, yeah, yeah.
attention?
Yeah, for sure, dude, for sure. He just wanted to, like, confirm his plan was actually gonna happen. I mean, he throws the cell phone in the trash. He doesn't care. And yeah, dude, he's a piece of shit. Of course the cough
Mm.
was I mean, I think it was at least. Yeah, dude, it, like, reminds me of Dune, where it's like that guy completely betrays the Atreides family, and this guy's basically betraying the rest of humanity so he can literally be selfish and have one little thing. It's like, dude, you're a
Mhm.
piece of shit. Like,
All right.
you're
Well, let's get off Dune's dick. No, I'm
alright,
kidding.
I love
No,
Dune, I
Dune.
love
I love Dune as well. I saw it so many times. But going back to Cipher at dinner, I thought it was such a cool concept how Cipher knows the Matrix is fake,
Yeah.
and he literally doesn't care. Like he would rather be in this fake life where he doesn't remember it because they're gonna wipe his mind, and just be living in a fake world just so he could not know how shitty real life is. And I feel like it's pretty relevant to like what a lot of people do now. They're like, I don't know, like want to escape reality because they don't like it by doing something.
Yeah, I mean, like, living through social media or, like, burying themselves in video games or whatever. I mean, it's such a fucking good movie, man.
Yeah, one of the most iconic scenes for me is when they're in the dojo for the first time and Morpheus and Neo are practicing and like the whole crew gathers around to watch because they're like expecting this super great fight. And within 24 hours, like Neo lands a first punch on Morpheus. It was so cool to me.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that whole idea that, like, you can obviously download gun training, physical training, I'm sure you could learn anything you want, like, that's pretty fucking cool. And then the fact that, yeah, like, you can die if you die in the Matrix, you die in reality, and it's like the body can't work without the mind, so your mind's dying in the Matrix. It's fucking cool, dude. I love it.
Yeah, only things I kind of thought of, which I don't know, I guess you could call them like loopholes, is like Morpheus mentions while he's talking to him, and Morpheus isn't out of breath at all after this intense fight, and Neo's like winded, and he's like, "What makes you think this is air?" He's like, "We're all the same. Like, strength isn't real, speed isn't real here."
Yeah.
Like, if that's the case, and Morpheus has been in the Matrix so many times, like, why can't they run super fast? Or like, why can't Morpheus fly at this point if gravity isn't real?
Morpheus could fly?
dude, I think if he could have flown, he would have flown, don't you?
Maybe.
Like, he
Yeah.
could have escaped the agents by just, like, flying and shit, or, like, if strength is just a concept when he was handcuffed, why couldn't he just be like, "I'm super strong," and bust out? Which he did at the end, but and theoretically, just like Neo came back to life, like Morpheus said, "If your mind dies, then you die." Can't you just be like, "I'm invincible," and then never die?
No, I think it's almost like you have to train yourself to be like a computer program that's always hacking the Matrix in real time. Like I think that's basically what it is. So like bullets coming at you, like eventually, especially Neo, because he is like the one, he has these abilities to go in between the Matrix and reality and stuff like that. You eventually can stop bullets. Like you can, like that's why Trinity towards the end, like she's able to not get shot so much because it's like her ability to manipulate the Matrix is like she sees the bullets coming, so she's able to move or whatever, but not as
Mm,
fast as an agent or as fast as Neo becomes.
okay.
I think at
Yeah.
least. I don't know.
So one of the funny parts I found about this movie, so when they go to see the Oracle, I like how, the Matrix is fake and theoretically you could create whatever you want from it. And the Oracle's like, yeah, I'm gonna live in this tiny apartment with a really outdated kitchen. Like, I was just thinking to myself, like, why didn't she be like, I'm gonna recreate this kitchen and put like stainless steel appliances and a new marble countertop? But she's
I
like,
think I know why. I think it's
is it
because
because she's the outdated program?
no, I think that she's doing it as an illusion to make it seem like she's humble or whatever, and but then
Okay.
maybe after these people leave, she like goes to Turks and Caicos or something.
She's like, all right, let's get that flat screen back up.
Yeah, she like gets a little bald kid with the spoon. She's like, let's get the fuck out of here.
The little- yeah, the little kid with the spoon. One of the cool things I thought about, referencing Star Wars again, is when the Oracle said Neo's not the one. It kind of reminded me of Star Wars, like maybe Neo isn't the one, like kind of how they thought, like Qui-Gon thought that Vader was the one, but it was really because Vader created Luke, who then brought balance. Morpheus is kind of like a Qui-Gon, where he found Neo, and technically they keep saying through the whole movie that Neo isn't the one. Maybe in like the next Matrix film, Neo is only the one, kind of like Vader, because he finds the real one.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Does that
yeah,
make sense?
100%. Yeah, I think
Like,
that's
that would be
probably where it's going.
cool. Yeah, I directly connected Morpheus with Qui-Gon, and I was like, oh, it's a sick fucking concept.
Yeah, you're right. Like he might not be the one, but he's the one that finds the one, sort of. And I get,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
He's the one of the one.
101010. Yeah. You got any last minute thoughts on this before we jump into the second one?
I got an 8.7 on IMDb.
Ooh,
What do you think about that?
yeah, dude. I don't want to say 8 because I feel like that's too low, but I don't want to say 9, so I was thinking 8.5.
Okay. I'm gonna say 9.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got fucking
I
tattoos. What are your tattoos? You didn't even tell us.
Oh yeah, I have a sentinel on my arm,
Oh,
which I didn't mention from the book. They reference the sentinels to Jesus's angels, like Gabriel, all those angels. And then I have that quote that Morpheus told Neo before he gave him the pills, where he was like, "You're." I don't know why I can't reference the quote that's on me. It was like it's like it's a prison for your mind. He's like, everything you see, taste, and touch isn't real. That whole thing.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 because I think it came out in 1999, and this concept was like so ahead of its time,
Yeah.
dude. And the script was like so wildly out there, and so many movies, like we referenced, so many horror movies take things from like 30 years ago. Horror movies, like so many movies are built off of this.
No, for sure. We'll talk about it more in the next one maybe, but there's an article or something like that that says 1999 is like the most important year of film. And they reference Stanley Kubrick's last film. They even mentioned the South Park movie, Star Wars, like all this stuff. Just like 1999 was a year that just like maybe didn't have the best movies, but was a very important year for film. And I think this is obviously one of the examples of that.
It's also cool that this movie about computers came out in 1999 because of the whole 2000 Y2K
Oh yeah.
scare.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sure people were worried about like, what's going to happen, and then they released this film and people were like, "Oh fuck, man."
It's like, I thought just the banks were gonna shut down. I didn't know we were gonna become like bald alien freaks in pods.
Seriously,
Oh
dude.
god. Alright, well, let's jump into The Matrix Reloaded.
All right.
This was released in 2003, so 4 years after the original one in May, and the third one was released in November. So that's kind of an interesting thing that I've never seen a movie do that before.
Yeah, they must have filmed, I mean, obviously both at the same time, but like They must have known how it was going to end, obviously, and just filmed both simultaneously.
Yeah, because yeah, it's like Kill Bill or something like that if they were both released in the same year. But this is, I don't know. I mean, these two definitely feel like their own story. You know, like it's continuing off the original one, but this is like its own thing, kind of. These two movies.
Yeah, so these both came out in theaters in 2003.
Yeah. So this one, Reloaded, came out in March or right or May was it? What was it? May, and then the other one came out in November. So yeah, like 6 months apart.
Yeah, that's an interesting marketing technique. I don't think I've seen that before.
I mean, it's a great way to make like $2 billion basically, because this movie alone made $739 million.
Wow.
That's disgusting.
That's a lot of
So,
money, dude.
so much money. Yeah. People don't like this one though. People give this one shit, and I don't get it. I love this movie.
You know what? I'm going to touch up on a handful of Twitter comments after the third one, but from everything that I've talked to people about, they don't like this. I mean, they don't like the third one, but we'll get into that later. But they especially don't like the second one as well. And I think that's partly because the first one was just so good. It's hard to follow.
Yeah, sure. That's totally valid and fine, but like as a sequel goes, I love this. It sets it up in a whole new direction. You get the characters that you love, you get to see them growing, and yeah, it takes place 6 months after the first one. So there is a little bit of time in between there. We don't really know what's going on. But this one basically starts with Neo and Trinity and Morpheus and Link coming back to Zion and like finally get to see Zion. That's pretty sick.
So I want to start off the review by playing devil's advocate here and get the cons out of the way first, just to, I guess, kind of agree with some people,
Sure.
because I've always been like a diehard The Second Is Awesome fan, and I did notice some. I think this is the first time I've seen all three in this short of a period.
Mm-hmm.
So to get some negatives out of the way, this one is not nearly as good as the first one, in my opinion. I think the first one was just like so revolutionary and just so out there that it was impossible to follow. And I think it had a good amount of flaws, but the positives were this one was like super action heavy. Like Neo finally, it's been 6 months. He like in 6 months he went from not even knowing the Matrix existed to being able to fight off like 50 Agent Smiths at a time. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And he gets
And
resurrected, so it's like
yeah,
you get
he
new
comes.
powers.
He basically like can't die, and then he can stop Sentinels with his mind while like in human form. It's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
that's fucking awesome. Yeah, but you didn't ever say any of your cons. What are the cons of this movie?
Oh well, yeah, the cons were that the first one was significantly better.
That's okay, but what about this movie? You can't be like the first one's better, so this one sucks. Why is this one?
I mean, I think it lacked a little bit on story. It I don't know. I really like this one, so it's hard. I think it focused a little bit too much on the Frenchman, even though I really like the Frenchman.
Dude. Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm just trying to see it from their perspectives, I guess.
I mean like
The rating dropped significantly. It went from an 8.7 to a 7.2. So people didn't like it that much.
sure. And the only thing that I can sit there and think like is a real con that actually affects the story is when they say this has happened before. Like that's the major thing that like there's been more than one Matrix. So that's the only thing that makes me feel like, you know, it's like, okay, so Neo, even if he does kind of stop this, it's already happened before. So it kind of makes it feel pointless. That's the only thing that I could see the criticism of. But otherwise, dude, so much fighting, so much cool story. You know, the acting in this is whatever. It's very like vanilla, but that's fine. And all the characters you know are there. And dude, I don't think there's anything wrong with this movie, and I will stand by that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're like, this is bullshit.
No, it's not as good as the original one because it's just the story's not as good, but it's still very good.
Yeah, I think realistically, if people think back through like all the two-part movies, like trilogies and quadrilogies, like when has the second one ever been better than the first movie?
Like Empire Strikes Back, maybe. Like that's the only thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like me personally, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, and I like Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep the best just because the action scene. But I think most people would say they like the first one.
Sure,
So
and
so
that's
I don't,
fine.
you know.
I don't
But
know.
starting off with my notes, I think one of my favorite things about the second one is I think the opening scene is so badass. Like all the captains meet up for this secret meeting, which just seems kind of kind of sketchy in the first place. Like, hey, let's get all of Zion's captains in one place. Like, I don't think that would be the best technique to do. But they all meet up in the spot. Somehow Smith knows they're there.
Mhm.
He puts the friggin' his little earpiece thing through the door, which I'm asking myself, like, how does this doorman not like recognize this guy or anything, or question how he knows that they're in that building? But like Neo knows, like he senses it. And when that guy was like, "What's going on, boss?" Neo, like, I like in my head, I was like playing as Neo, like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like he didn't say anything. I would have been like, "Run, motherfuckers!"
Yeah, it's like, "We gotta go. We gotta go right now." Okay, so
And
all of them meeting, yeah.
yeah, I like how everyone thinks Morpheus is crazy. He's like that like wacky captain, but like they all still listen to him.
Yeah, because this is the time because in the first one, we never question Morpheus. Everybody on the ship loves Morpheus. We don't really know what other captains are there, what Zion's like, but this time, yeah, we do learn some of the council people don't like Morpheus. Locke doesn't like Morpheus. A lot of people don't like him. This is the first time we see that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of like that whole council concept. It was very like, I don't know.
I mean, there has to be, I guess.
Yeah, but do they need like 10 of them?
I mean, I don't know. It's probably better than having just like one. It's like, hey, we have. It's like Congress and the Senate and stuff. It's like people like checks and balances, I guess.
when uh when that like bodyguard guy was like, he went to Neo, he's like, "How did you know someone was there?" I expected Neo to be like, "Cuz I'm fucking Neo."
Yeah,
Cuz I'm the
yeah,
one.
right. So it seems like Agent Smith is fucking with them because he could probably have gone in there and killed a lot of those captains, but he didn't want to. He wanted Neo because he gave him his earpiece. So he's like, "Hey, just so you know, Neo, I'm not fucking dead." Like that's pretty much what I took from that.
Yeah, I think he was pretty confident. I think he was cocky cuz he knew that like eventually he was going to like take over everyone's body,
Oh yeah.
and just didn't care.
Dude, like that idea just alone, Smith not dying from what Neo did, but actually becoming part of Neo, like taking some of Neo's code when Neo became part of him. Like that's kind of cool. That's a cool way for that character to go, as opposed to just completely killing him off.
Yeah, and I like when the new agents came in and like Neo paused while blocking and he was like, upgrades. And then like they just started playing that like EDC club music.
Oh yeah. Dude, the
There's
music
so
in this
much club music.
dude, the like Zion orgy rave scene, like that's just so like that
Oh yeah.
music.
Speaking of the Zion orgy rave scene, like when that old councilman was like giving his speech, I was just picturing him being like, "Let us fuck."
It is time to fuck.
He's like, "All right, everyone, we put acid in the water system." He's like, "Let the fucking commence."
Dude, well, that's the other thing. I don't really get it because like Neo and Trinity act like I haven't seen you in months. It's like you guys have been on the same ship. Like, don't you share a bed? Can you not like fuck? Like, why?
Well,
Why are you?
yeah, but maybe like they want privacy. I'm assuming like if a ship is like a submarine or something, there's probably not a lot of privacy. Like maybe they don't want Mouse hearing them just clap cheeks or something. I
Yeah,
don't
okay. But if
know.
I was Link or whatever, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna give those guys like 2 hours. I'm gonna hang out and like drink tea or whatever.
Every time I see the second one, it's like deja vu. I'm like, oh, the guy from Lost.
Yeah, Michael from Lost. Like, where's Walt? Where's Walt?
It's funny though because this came out before Lost, so when this
Yeah.
came out, I was just like, who's that guy?
Oh, I love Link, dude. I think he's such a cool character, and you know,
Dude, when he
it's
got to Zion, he's like, "Where's my puss? Hey."
yeah, dude. I love that. Yeah, it's, dude, all right, so let's talk about Zion for a minute then. So they explain, the architect kind of explains that, which I don't really like, that they destroy Zion every time, basically, and then they have the one choose 16 females and 7 men to basically repopulate Zion. So the point that we're coming into this movie must be like, I mean, like, hundreds of years since the last Matrix has been reset because of how many people are in Zion.
I mean, probably way more if you think about like
There's 250,000 people, so however long it would take,
a
like
lot.
23 people to make 250,000. So yeah, I mean, I would assume hundreds of years.
It's realistically like an Adam and Eve thing, kind of like from the dawn of time to like now. But you know what, dude? You know what I was thinking of? Like, when Neo saw the Oracle outside, like in that little park, and she was like, "Ask your questions." And he was like, "How do I know, if you're a machine, if what you're telling me is correct?" Like, I was kind of thinking about it at the end. I mean, I doubt this is what happened, but cool concept is like what if there weren't 6 iterations and like the Matrix, which like that sentinel face thing that was talking to him at the end, created the Oracle to try and befriend the humans, to convince them through this whole process to help them a little bit, right? But they're not actually helping them enough
Hmm.
to get Neo to him at the end point because he knew Smith would like defect, and it ultimately preserved the Matrix like surviving. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is your 6th iteration, and like if you don't do it, we'll kill you." But like that hasn't ever happened.
I think that's 100% in. I think they say that the Oracle and the Architect are both programs, you know, and they're the yin and the yang of the Matrix, the father and the mother. So it's like basically saying like you need both. You need like the Oracle is almost like, you know, maternal, loving character that kind of points you in the right direction, but ultimately she is trying to get Neo to stop Smith. I mean, that really is like the goal, it seems like.
Well, yeah, because if Smith doesn't get stopped, the Matrix dies, and if the Matrix
Right.
dies, the human dies. So I mean, they have common causes here.
And the whole movie's kind of about that, where even the old councilman and Neo, when they're talking, they're just like, we rely on those machines, just like the machines and the Sentinels rely on us for energy. It's like they're all it's a circle basically. Ah, it's such a cool idea what the Oracle is, you know, the Oracle and the Architect. I just love those ideas.
Hmm. Yeah. Speaking of the rave scene, I'm looking at my notes. Um, and when Neo and Trinity were like making love, and he was like, "I'm scared, Trinity," and she like grabbed his hand, and she was like, "Do you feel that?" During the pause, I was like, "What is that? Like her boob? Like what's he grabbing?" And it was just like they were just holding hands.
Do you feel that? No, I mean, let's just before we get into the plot a little bit. I mean, the acting in this movie, I love Keanu Reeves. Like seriously, I love Keanu Reeves.
I
But
know you can say it. You
no,
can say it.
there's no acting in from him. It's literally just like, "What? Okay. I know. You won't understand. I need to go."
It's very like Keanu Reeves, though, right?
Yeah, and I'm believe me, I love it, and I would not have wanted this movie any other way. But it's just, you know, it is interesting that he's very plain in this movie, and he's all of them. You know, there's no personality, like, which
Yeah, I
is
mean
fine.
this was also back in like his earlier acting days. Keanu's one of my favorite actors, so I would say his best acting is like probably John Wick, and that's still not like he's no like Jack Nicholson.
I'm starting to think I'm back. Like
I know,
that's the
I
best.
know, I know, I
No,
know.
whatever, dude. Believe me, I love him too. He's my favorite. I fucking love him. Dude, same thing with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford doesn't really act very much either. He just kind of grunts and like looks at things. But I love him. I love him to death. Let's talk about the plot a little bit more because I know we're gonna move on to Revolution soon. But a couple things. First of all, dude, seriously, the fight scene in that lobby where he's fighting the Merogovovian, whatever that,
The
uh,
Merovingian.
the Frenchman, the Frenchman. He's fighting the
You're like
Frenchman.
the mug.
So just a few things, dude. The idea. Do you understand like what his like group of people are, like what those ghost people are, and all those people that are fighting Neo? Do you understand like what they are?
Is this a rhetorical question? I don't.
No, no. Like I'm asking, do you know what those why they're
Oh,
so strong and
I
all that?
mean, it sounds like the Frenchman is just so wealthy that he's acquired these like really good fighters in the Matrix, and he has like a badass group of people, but they're still not as good as Neo.
Okay, dude, it's so cool. So I looked it up online. So basically, what he is from one of the either the original Matrix or the second Matrix, and he was kind of this trafficker of information for the program. All right, and then when they went to go reset for the third time, he was aware of this, so he was able to hide out when the Matrix got like started over, and he's
Mhm,
keeps carrying himself over to the following Matrixes. So he's
mhm,
lived throughout all of these Matrixes, and what he does is he catches like the Ghost Twins or whatever, or any of these people fighting Neo, and he brings them over, which is why his wife says that one thing is just like, how many people carry silver bullets in their guns? Because that's the only way they can die, is because that's the way they
yeah.
were programmed in a previous program, and he carries them over. So I'm like, that's what that train guy is in the third one too. He's another one of his like programs that he brings over.
Yeah, I mean that the whole Frenchman aspect was really cool because one, all his guys are badass,
Yeah,
and the fact that like every time the door closes, it like shifts to another part of the world or something.
yeah.
And I just always thought it was funny because like every time I see his wife, I think it's Catherine Zeta-Jones, but it's not. But
No, it's
I don't,
Monica
I don't.
Bellucci.
Yeah, And I just like how he's going into like incredibly descriptive detail talking about this cake, and everyone just was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then when his wife was like, "You have lipstick, my love," he's like, "Lipstick? What lipstick?"
Yeah,
He's just
because
a
just
funny guy, dude.
he's a scummy. I mean, he's like just living in indulgence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he does know pretty much just as much as the Oracle, and he needs to help Neo to the source. So he is
I
very
know,
important
yeah.
in all of this.
I think one of the coolest things he says is he's like, I forgot the exact quote, but he was like, "Yo, you have like much more skills than your predecessors," and I'm like, "Oh shit, he said it."
Yeah, so that's like kind of the first hint we get because it's kind of like, what? Also, what do you think about the predecessors? Do you think they all looked like Keanu Reeves, or do you think they all look
So
differently?
I know what you're getting at, and this was the first time I thought that myself, where when he was talking to the architect, this may be the third one. I don't know if I'm cutting into the third one. And there was like 20 TVs of him like laughing and talking. Were all those other the ones that like are
No,
recorded?
no, I think that's just him fucking with him. That's in the second one too. That's yeah, that whole room at the TV is the second one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
They don't
I don't
say
know.
anything that could allude to that, you know?
I know, and that's why I think they could do like an HBO mini sequel, limited series where like it's just about prequels on other the ones and and shit like that.
Yeah, they definitely could. I just want to talk about that amazing drive scene on the freeway, dude. That is like one of the coolest car chase scenes I've ever seen in my life. It's so good, dude.
Oh yeah, awesome scene. Only thing I noticed that I didn't like, which didn't make sense, was when Trinity was going backwards on the highway, the police officers, when they zoomed in on the exit ramp, were going forward at her, but technically the opposite of the highway. So did you see that?
I didn't notice that, but there's one other thing that I noticed that
So
I was like, fuck that.
so technically these cops entered the highway going the opposite, and I was like, how would they have known? But anyway, yeah, go on.
Well, here's the major thing.
Uh-oh.
When the
Is it
Keymaster and
Oh boy,
Morpheus
I know
are
what you're gonna say.
maybe when they're fighting on top of that 18 wheeler, why doesn't an agent just take over the truck driver, stop the car immediately, and then have everybody? It's like they just let that truck driver stay a truck driver, not knowing that they're on top of that fighting, and then eventually, when it's convenient for the plot, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna take over the driver. That's the one thing where I'm like, they should have done something.
That's fair. They could have just like taken over the truck and stopped it and be like,
Yeah,
"All right, we're
yeah.
we're gonna get you now."
Yeah, exactly. They're more just like, let's just like keep sending people up there to fight him. It's like, yeah, like they could have stopped it immediately. But yeah, so there's all that. Bane, we didn't really talk about Bane,
Who?
the guy that Smith possesses in the real world.
Oh, yeah. Quickly before we do that, I just want to say Morpheus fighting both ghosts at the same
Oh,
time in the parking lot was
oh,
sick.
dude. Dude, literally, like, from the second they start fighting the Frenchman's bodyguards for like a solid 40 minutes, it's just
Oh,
car
it was
chase
a long
scenes,
fight. Yeah.
nonstop fighting. Just, dude, it's so sick. Like, why don't people like this movie? Anyways,
Yeah, when Neo stopped the sword with his hand and he was like, "See, he's a human, he bleeds." I was like, "Oh shit."
yeah, dude. So, like, this is the movie where it introduces that, like, people can travel through the Matrix, like Agent Smith, a program, can actually become a human. And then at the very end, probably the coolest thing in the whole movie is that Neo actually has powers in the real world. He can stop Sentinels in the real world. Like, that's so fucking sick.
Yeah, the concept with Bane was pretty cool. Like Smith took over his body in the Matrix, which somehow like infected his mind, but because he was still a human, he was able to go through the phone
Mhm.
and go back to like the regular world, but he was still like obviously Smith.
He's the same, yeah, so, like, he's a program still, he has a mission to destroy humanity, basically, and I love that even in the first one, when he's talking to Morpheus, like, "Look, you smell, you stink," all this stuff, and then he's still he wants to kill humanity, that's his MO even after they, supposedly kill him in the first one. Yeah, dude, fucking awesome. So sick. Last thing I just want to ask you too about the Oracle. Obviously, the actress that played her in the first one died in between
Mhm.
these, so they replaced her. But they acknowledge it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I want to know, like, why do you think she looks different? Because it does in the Matrix, like, she is different, like,
You mean why do I think she looks different besides the fact that it's a different actress?
yeah, exactly.
Well, I will say that I think them acknowledging it was great. because in like 99% of all movies I've ever seen, they just play it off like, all right, guys, like, in the real world, like she died. And like everyone knows, but like still while you're watching the movie, you're like, can you just like explain it? Like
Yeah,
you can't like pretend like that person like didn't die in real life.
right,
And I really liked how she explained, like, yeah, because I helped you guys, like it shifted the matrix, which like took a toll on my coding or some shit.
right.
So I thought that was cool. It took
Love that.
the Wachowskis took 5 minutes out of the movie to just quickly explain, like, hey guys, we incorporated the fact that this actress died in real life and made it like part of the cool like matrixy concept. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, man, I love that too. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about Matrix Reloaded before I move on?
What do you think about the 7.2 rating?
Dude, I think honestly, I think this is like point 0.5 below the original one. Like,
Oh shit.
dude, I love this one. I think this one's I don't know. I don't think there's really anything wrong with this movie. Yeah, I love the plot heavy stuff. I love that. I love how it adds more layer and depth and confusion that makes you want to learn more. It's not so surface level. I don't know. I think that's sick.
Yeah, I'll get into why I think people don't like the second one. I think it has to do with the third one, but I would agree. I would say if it's not, I would say it's like a smidgen below the first.
Yeah. Yeah. So like whatever the first one is, take point 0.5 off, and that's what I give it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can criticize too is like Bane not being introduced heavily enough because the way it ends, where it's just like to be concluded. It's like you're like, who the fuck was that guy again? Like for 1 second, you're like, who the fuck is that goatee guy? And then all of a sudden, just like 9 Inch Nails or whatever music, just like, let's go. And you're just like, I don't remember what happened. So that's like, okay, I'll give him the ending. Not the best, but still love it. Still love it. I love that Neo can destroy Sentinels in the real world. So, anyways,
Yep, I agree.
ready to move into Revolution?
Yeah.
So, The Matrix Revolution. Let's see. This was released in November of 2003. November 5th. This one made $427 million. So, about half as much as Reloaded, which is, kind of surprising because you'd feel like people would want to see the ending, but only half as many people saw it. But, all right.
Yeah, that is surprising. Maybe a lot of people didn't like the second one and they were like, I don't care anymore.
Oh, wow. I don't think I could ever do that. If I knew there was going to be a trilogy, I could just like give up after the second one. Like, unless it like unbelievably sucked.
Or maybe they were just burnt out because they were like, we just saw the second one like 3 months ago in theaters.
Maybe. I don't know. Did you see these in theaters?
No, dude, no. I mean, we were 13. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
I saw both of these in theaters, dude.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Mr. One Upper.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about the third one is it introduces Seraph. And do you remember playing the Matrix game
Fuck yeah, dude.
on
Enter
the
the
original
Matrix.
Xbox?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Getting some
dude.
Powerade and playing that.
That game was sick, and it really gave like a background into Seraph. But like, I wish you could download that on the new Xbox. But like, dude, I would just play as Neo and Morpheus, and like, there was that one level where it was like an outside construction building where you like running up the scaffolding, and Smith was just following you up the whole building, and you obviously can't kill him because he's Smith. But like,
Mhm.
I would just sit there for like an hour and just like button mash and fight him and be like, I'm fucking Neo.
I do, dude. I remember all of this, and it's funny because Enter the Matrix was that video game, and then they did the Animatrix are both canon in this franchise too. So whatever happened in that game technically happens in the
In the Matrix.
the Matrix world. But dude, Sephiroth, yeah, he was in Reloaded too. Sorry, he wasn't in the original one. He was in Reloaded.
Okay.
But
Right.
anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. So he is badass as fuck though.
So yeah, just going off my notes on this one, I thought it was awesome when Neo met the train man. First of all, that guy was like 15 feet tall. He's so fucking tall.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and when they met each other in I guess like the train station realm that he created, and he tried to escape, and he obviously couldn't escape, and he was like, I'm getting on this train. And dude, it's so badass because Neo's like the strongest person ever to exist, and this old guy like punched him through the fucking wall.
Well, he kind of says it. He's like, I'm God here. And it's supposed to be limbo. It's supposed to be the in between world between the Matrix and reality where he's the only one that has access to the ferry people across,
Hmm.
So, also a little tidbit here. Did you notice how it says Mobile Avenue right on the wall when Sati and him are talking in the beginning? That's
I
the train.
did.
So that's an anagram for limbo.
Is it
Yeah.
mobile? Oh, limbo, mobile limbo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, but
No, I noticed they zoomed in on the mobile sign, and I was like, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, so it's Limbo Avenue. But he's talking to Sati and there's two adults, and basically, so what's happening? So programs are having kids, but if programs don't have purpose, they get deleted. So he has to bring her to the Oracle because she has no purpose.
Well, I mean, it's the same concept that the Oracle said to Neo. Like the Oracle technically is an older program that has no purpose anymore, which is why she's like doing her thing. And yeah, it's like the same concept with, your computer. It has updates and it changes software and shit. And basically, all old software just gets killed. And that's why the dad was explaining, they may not be human and don't have the emotion of love, but they know what the word love means. And he knows that he doesn't want this program to get deleted.
God, dude, that's such a. He keeps asking. He's like, "You believe in karma?" And he's just like, "Karma also is just a word." And it's just
I
like,
know when he kept
"Fuck."
saying that, I was like, can you just like, do you or not?
I love that. I love that. I love that so much, dude. Dude, and that's the other thing they say in this one too, where he goes to the Oracle Neo. He's kind of just like, "Cut the shit and just fucking tell me." And she's like, "You never asked the right questions," sort of thing.
I
He could
know.
have just been like, he's like, "I'm not the one." She's like, "You're not the one." Sorry, kid. It's like right now. It's like, ooh, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like they could have went back to the first one, and he could have been like, I'm just gonna stay here for like 20 minutes and bombard you with questions," and she'd be like, "Ah, fuck,
I
okay."
know. He just had to ask the right questions, and he just didn't. So it's
She
like,
was like,
oh,
yeah, she was frustrating though because they zoomed in on that like Irish sign, and she was like, "You weren't ready to ask the
it's not
questions."
Irish. It's Latin.
Irish, Latin,
Oh my
Irish,
god, Gaelic. Anyways,
tomato, tomato.
oh my god. But yeah, so yeah, that's cool. Dude, the criticisms of this movie, I get it. Like, there's so much unnecessary like action, I feel like, to the point where I felt like the entire movie was just them shooting robots for like literally a third of or even more than a third of the movie.
It wasn't even that long of a movie. This one was only 2 hours.
So it feels like a third of the movie is them just shooting robots repeatedly, and which is fine for a little while, but I'm kind of like, this is kind of wrapping up the whole series here. Is this?
There was a lot of robot shooting.
Yeah. So I was like,
I guess I guess we could start off with cons again too. It's been a while since I've seen the third one, and I think partly the reason why I didn't like this one as much is because like deep down subconsciously, I'm like mad at it. Like
okay.
this was the movie that ended it, and like deep down I was just like, screw you for ending it.
What?
Um
Okay. Well, it's not. So are you not mad at it
well,
anymore?
but I mean it has been for 20 years.
I know. I know.
And yeah, it shifts more from like the whole like Matrix concept of like the rabbit hole to like, all right, these fucking we gotta kill these robots. But also
Yeah. Yeah.
that's understandable because they spent the last 6 hours talking about like, is this real? Are you real? Am I real? So like they had to get to like Zion eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like a logical way for the series to go. Like, I get it. Because what are they going to do? Bring all of their humans to the robot city and try to have a war there? Like, that's not going to work.
Uh
So,
oh well, damn, you know what? I don't want to forget, so we'll just touch on that now. I was thinking of ways they could have like beat the robots.
how?
Okay, so dude, they have what, 12 captains or 13 captains, which means they have 13 ships, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so dude, think of it like this. If the world is about to end, that one ship, Will Smith's wife, who I
Uh-huh.
every time she was on screen, I was just like an entanglement. Like every time
What?
the thing with her show
I don't even know. I have no
where
idea.
she went on TV with Will Smith and said she had sex with that other dude. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I have no idea.
Um, but dude, her that one ship killed like 10,000 Sentinels in Zion. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why didn't they just plan this a little better? So they got 13 ships, dude, and they had like a bajillion Sentinels go to Zion. They busted through that little wall thing where all the mech units were killing him. Why didn't they be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do? We're gonna send one ship and kind of wait until they all get to the wall, do an EMP blast, kill like 10 million of them. The defenses of Zion would go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were most scared about. So then, just like Commander Locke said, he's like, if I was a Sentinels, I'd send every fucking last Sentinel here. Then they would send all the Sentinels again. So there'd be like another 10 bajillion of them. And then they would just send another second ship again. And then while this is happening, they could have sent like 5 ships to the actual Matrix. And then when the Sentinels would attack that one, they'd be like, EMP blast, psh, kill them. And then they would have just kept doing EMP blast.
I mean, all right. So, best case scenario, they have 13 ships. that can provide EMP blasts. They all leave Zion to go attack the city, okay? And let's say we also have Neo, who can also just like destroy a lot of them all at once, okay? So
Mhm,
they say they send 250,000 Sentinels to Zion to destroy them. They're like, one for every man, woman, and child. It's like, oh crap.
mhm.
Then they go to the Machine City. There are millions of them there, okay? So it's like this little Zion thing is kind of just like, hey, remember that thing we got to take care of? Yeah, just send enough to do that. Like, it's not even a
Just
fraction of a percentage of what they would need. So let's say, and then that's even if these ships get to the Machine City. It looks very hard to get to. So
Yeah,
they all get
it
there,
looked very far.
and then they have to hope that even if they shoot these EMP blasts, they won't destroy the other ships. They won't set off the Matrix and kill all of those humans in the Matrix that are like in those pods. They all just die. Like they don't know what they're doing. So they're being defensive, which makes sense. And Neo is like, I'm gonna go take care of this the best I can. I'm gonna sacrifice myself, pull a Jesus, and go in there and take one for the team.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think best case scenario, they could have had a few ships like wait in the tunnels to where the Sentinels had to pass,
Hmm.
and then EMP blasts would be like, all right, my
No,
ship's down, but I killed 50,000
they're
of them.
fucked. They're fucked.
But
There's nothing they can do.
that is a funny aspect though. Like the Sentinels like started their new day and there was like, was there something we had to do today?
Oh
And
yeah.
they were like zzz, zzz. It's like I'm getting like a zzz, and they're like, oh, we gotta destroy Zion again. Yep,
Dude,
yep.
okay, think of it this way. Okay, best case scenario, it takes 15 years for a human to be able to pick up a gun and fly a ship and do all that stuff. Okay,
I'm trying
the
to be
the
optimistic.
robots can probably make 15 new Sentinels in like a minute or whatever. That's all they're doing is improving and making new machines. That's all they're doing. So it's like the human resistance is simply just it's like part of the Matrix. And then the other
Mhm.
thing is, was thinking the reason that they would have Neo is like you can choose six men and whatever 12 females or whatever, is because they always need humans no matter what. Even if the entire Matrix resets and everybody dies, all of the pods die. They still need humans to then
Well,
repopulate those pods.
like the architect said, he's like, there are levels of sacrifice we're willing to take.
Right,
Remember?
right, exactly.
Which
So
I'm not sure what that meant. He's like, we'll do some weird shit to
there's
survive.
there's always yeah, he's like, we'll do anything it takes. There's always a backup plan, that's what it seems like. So no matter what happens, there's a backup plan. The one thing I don't get though is like, you know, Neo's dead now, so why isn't the Deus Ex Machina robot just kind of like, yeah, fuck that, and then just goes in there and kills them all in Zion. It's like, oh, sweet, he got rid of Smith for us. I mean, we don't owe them. Fuck them. I mean, they could do that.
um, yeah,
There's
they
nothing stopping the robots from then just being like, fuck them. It's not like in episode 1 Star Wars where they destroy the one ship that shuts them all down. Literally, it's like Neo and this one robot had like, we shake hands on it.
I mean, they killed like 90% of the human race at that point. They have no ships. Like what even is the rest of humanity at that point? Because they survived, but like there's 100,000 super heavy dead robots all throughout their city. Like how long would it even take to clean it?
Yeah, and I mean, we don't even know how many casualties happened in that, so they could have been like, you know what, we did enough damage. We didn't do as much as we normally do, but
Let this be a lesson.
we fucked them up pretty good. It's like, yeah, but now they could. But that's the thing. Maybe in this new one, we're going to find out that that was a big mistake doing that, and they were able to get a lot more people out of the Matrix because there's not 6 of them starting population over again. There's like, I don't know,
Uh,
50,000 or 60,000 that survived that attack.
Yeah, like instead of them, it taking 1,000 years for them to become a threat, like they became a threat much quicker, and like
Right.
the Matrix was like, oh shit.
Exactly, because they're not starting from scratch like they normally would.
Yeah, I did like again the Frenchman in this third one
Oh yeah.
when they were going down the elevator and Seraph was like, it's gonna be one of two scenarios, either a code checker person or he's like, there will be many men. Like sick.
Yeah.
And then they got into like this whole like again EDC music fight, but this one was like the Frenchman was having like a BDSM like sex slave party.
Oh
It's kind
yeah.
of weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I mean, that too, where I love this whole like subplot that could have happened. It's like, I want the Oracle's eye. And then also it's like Trinity's like, fuck this. I'm like, we don't have time for this. Like, and
Oh
then
yeah.
puts a gun
Trinity
to
was
his head.
badass.
She just didn't give a fuck. Dude, Trinity, I think Trinity's like the unsung hero of these movies, dude. She's opening the first Matrix movie with a kick-ass fight scene. She's in the second one getting killed, but like flying, doing all this cool shit. And then in this one, she's badass as fuck in this,
Yeah, she's badass. Well, I feel like I don't know. I feel like in the first one, she like just wanted Neo to like go along with him because she knew Morpheus like believed in it so heavily, and then they just gained like a strong attraction to each other.
Well, I think that the Oracle, that's the difference this time, is the Oracle makes the One fall in love with Trinity. Because every other time the One has chosen to reset the Matrix and choose those people, knowing that if he doesn't do that,
Oh,
humanity will end. But this time, it's the first time that he's chosen to go save Trinity, and then ends up being it. And that's, everything, the Matrix all fucked up after that.
yeah, all 6 iterations. She's like, there's only one thing stronger than the Matrix: love. She's like, and cookies.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Another quick thing I just want to talk about too. This is like every movie suffers from this, but I'm just kind of like, The Matrix too. It's so convenient that every single time a main character is about to die, they always have like 10 seconds to be like, yeah, you gotta do this one thing. Like this happened like 3 times in this movie where it's like you get the keymaster who's just like, yeah, you gotta go through that one door, and then that Morpheus, you go through that door, and then you get what's his face? The guy where he's like, I never finished the module training. It's like, and then you like go get the gate. And then the best one ever though is Trinity. It's like, dude, that thing stabbing through her, she'd be like, "Gah!" Like immediately dead. There's not gonna be like, I loved you, and then like talking for like 20 minutes, being like, now remember that movie?
I know there would have been so much blood poured out of her mouth.
Like, come on. Like, listen, I love it. We all need that last minute, but like, why does every movie do that? Every movie does that.
I mean, it's a movie.
I know, but just like, I want one time where it's just like a fucking spike goes through Trinity's neck. It's like, "Gah!" And then he's just like, Trin, you there? Trin? And then, no.
Okay, yeah. I mean, she got fucked up.
No, like, dude, believe me, I love it, and I'm so happy that they're coming back in Resurrection. I can't wait to see what happens, but yeah, this movie has its flaws. This is definitely the worst of all of them. I still don't think it deserves the hate that it gets. Come on, look at all the fucking garbage movies that come out nowadays, and then look at this. This is not that bad.
Yeah, again, I think it's just they're good, but people are just like, well, it's not as good as the first one, and like it can't be.
No, it never
Can't
will
as good
be.
as the first one. I do wish Seraph had a little bit of a bigger role, like when Agent Smith caught him in the building. Obviously, there was no way he was going to fight off like 100 Smiths, but I wish they fought like like a couple of them. They just
Huh?
like trapped him in a corner. This was the first time that I caught that Smith turned the little girl when the Oracle was like, "What happened to her?" And then like Smith quoted what she said, and I was like, "Oh shit,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that was her."
Well, everybody comes back though. I mean, I guess the ending is basically Neo is dead, essentially. I mean, he is in this. Trinity's dead. Morpheus is still alive. Link's still alive. Mouse, that little fucking annoying guy, is still alive.
Well, no, it's not. It's not Mouse. It's the kid.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not Mouse.
Mouse is yeah.
You know what I'm talking about though. And that's about it for characters. The Council, we assume, is still alive. Agent Smith's dead.
Commander Locke, Will Smith's wife.
Yeah, Niobe, she's gonna be in the new one. Yeah, and then Sati is grown up, so that's gonna be cool. I think she's the new Oracle, dude.
Oh, you know what? I've been trying not to look too much into it. I'm not 100% sure if this is like supposed to be a reboot of the first one, or my understanding of this new one was Neo took the blue pill instead of taking the red pill from Morpheus, and then she's just like it's picking up again from that point. But then I saw the second trailer, and he has all of his like original powers, and they were like. He's like, oh, I'm starting to remember. So like I think everything's happened, and then he somehow like forgot. I don't know.
I have no idea, but I literally cannot wait. Like it's
yeah. I'm going to log out of work Thursday. I'm not going to theaters. I know, and I'm just gonna play it on my 75-inch TV downstairs because I have to watch it. I don't want to watch one of my favorite series with like some person like snorting popcorn next to me. Like,
snorting popcorn.
Dude, when you're like trying to listen and someone's just like, like.
Snorting lines. I was like, what fucking movie theaters you go?
Some guy, I don't know, shoe and H next to me.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, one thing, the captain who was yelling, right? He's like, you're not taking my ship. He's like, you're out of your mind. Like he was yelling. You know that guy?
Yeah.
Is that the eagle from the Muppets?
I highly doubt it.
Dude, don't they sound exactly the same? The the
Sure.
the blue eagle who
Yeah,
like
Sam, yeah.
he'd be like, yeah, he's like, I'm the bald eagle, and he's just like constantly yelling. Like that's what I pictured this guy as
Oh my
because
god.
instead of him just like talking about it, he just got so upset. He's like, this has gone on long enough.
Okay, maybe. I mean, maybe. But if it is, I don't even know. That's but definitely not.
Um,
Best line in the whole fucking trilogy. Damn, she got a fat ass.
oh, dude, what did you said that? Yeah, that was good. That
Ah,
was good.
damn, she got a fat ass. When she like
Because
hits
like
the thing.
because they're about to die. They're driving down this like service lane where like the ship's probably skimming the whole way. And when she said that, I was like, all right, she's trying to take pressure off the fact that she's gonna die.
Yeah, dude. Overall, I mean, for me, it goes one, two, three. This one is fine. I'm hoping Resurrection can kind of make up for some of the stuff, but overall, I do not think this is a bad movie.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest scenes, real quick, was when the Sentinels broke through the wall and they were like bottlenecking, and all the mech units were like shooting at them. But then, like every now and then, you saw one or two get away,
Oh yeah.
and those one or two were enough to like slowly take out the humans to the point where they couldn't stop the bottleneck as much, and like you
Oh
just
yeah.
saw them die one by one. The captain dude, Commander Mifune, was so badass. He was
Oh
fucking up
yeah.
like a million of them.
Yeah.
I did think that him saying, that last line was corny, but also gave the kid motivation.
Oh sure. No, yeah.
And then the finishing scene of the Matrix where Smith is whooping Neo's ass, and then Neo like finds it. He gets like his inner Goku where he just like finds energy, stops his attack. Reminds me of the first one where like he was losing, but then somehow just overcame it.
The point of it wasn't to win. The point of it was to show Agent Smith that he has choice and Agent Smith doesn't. That's the thing because if Agent Smith knew what was going to happen, and I think he does, I think he knows that once he replicates Neo, that he might not be able to sustain himself, but he can't control himself. That's his programming is to
Mm,
destroy Neo and humanity. So no, even if it's harmful to him, he can't rewrite his own programming, but Neo doesn't have programming. He has the choice to continue fighting and to let him do this, you know?
right. So like Smith's biggest enemy is himself.
Basically, I mean, he can't rewrite his own programming, you know? So it's like he's his own worst enemy in his own way. And I love that fight because, yeah, Neo can't win and he's not supposed to. Even if he kills he can't. But even if he kills that one agent, there's fucking millions. So, like, yeah, so he has to
Yeah.
lose.
It
That's
looked
the
like
point.
Smith basically took over like most of the Matrix's humans at
I
that point.
like what you've done, like what I've done with the place. Like, oh,
Speaking
yeah.
of which, Hugo Weaving, incredible actor.
Oh, dude, like
Incredible.
what a good him and Christopher Lee had the best 5 years, dude. Like imagine you're in The Matrix and Lord of the Rings and you're in Star Wars
Oh,
and Lord of the Rings. Like, ho, ho,
yeah, they're set
they're
from
good.
that.
I mean, yeah, dude. So cool.
Anything you want to get into before the rating?
Nah, I think we've talked all about it. Just can't wait for the new one.
Yeah, so this one got a 6.8. So it went from 1 to 3, 8.7, 7.2, 6.8. So clearly a big drop from the first one. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's gonna go with like a 6.8 for me. I mean, it's like not amazing, not terrible. It's 6.8. What about
Okay,
you?
yeah. I mean, definitely not as good as the second or first one, but still good.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just didn't like it because I don't know, because it just shifted more from its original premise, but like it had to.
Yeah, it can't just be the same movie over and over and over again. It's got to grow, and that's why I like these movies. You know, they're different.
Yeah, just to quickly read some Twitter comments on my post about people's thoughts. So Wizards podcast said, I actually really liked Reloaded. It's just that Revolutions is so shite, it retroactively makes Reloaded shite because it doesn't really pay off anything they set up. And I can definitely agree with that. The second one went in a direction, and then the third one kind of shifted a bit and focused more on like the whole human robot perspective. But again, I think they did the best they could with such a whack topic. Like,
I mean, I'm just obviously it doesn't really matter, but compared to the Star Wars sequels,
oh,
I think those retroactively destroyed themselves horrifically. This I don't think did as much damage retroactively from even this one.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy like ate a live grenade. They were like, "Let's see what happens if we eat this grenade." um,
Yeah, so I can understand how movies can retroactively get affected, but, like, I don't know. I don't disagree with him, but I think there's better examples, and I don't think this does as much damage as it could.
yeah, and then Stu World Order said that the second one, it's the worst of the original trilogy. It gets the
Wow.
appropriate amount of hate. See, again, a lot of people. I wish I could understand like why they didn't like the second one. Like, I love the second one. It
I
was
know.
badass.
What the hell?
Yeah, and Movie Pit podcast said, okay, arguably the best action of the three, which I agree. Like the fight scenes are
Yeah.
so on point. The EDC club music. Tattoo Squid said, wasn't there some kind of neon white twins? Which yeah, those twins were just so badass. I kind of wish Neo fought the twins for like even a minute, just like a
Yeah.
minute. The No 15 All Cast said he thinks, and this I agree with this a little bit. I think part of the extensive use of CGI in the third one threw folks off a bit, and maybe because I think they did take advantage a bit of the CGI because they had the technology with Smith being computerized, and then Big Nick said the two movies after the first were not great, which was a funny way of saying only the first one was good.
Yeah. I mean, hey, to each their own.
Collectively, before we end this, if you could give the trilogy one rating as a whole.
Oh, dude, solid 8.
Oh, you think the second two brought it down that much
I
to an
mean,
8?
I'd give the original one like a 9, and then yeah, I guess like these two combined, yeah, I guess I think an 8's
So
solid for the trilogy.
it's like in high school when you get an A and you're like, dude, sick. I got like a 95. I don't need to study. And then like 270s, you're like, oh shit, I have like a C now.
I mean, I think an 8 is pretty good for 3 movies. Like, there's not a lot of trilogies that I can, give that high of a praise to.
Okay. I would say collectively 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, so very pumped for the third one. I think the plan is, if time permits, to see it and then try and get a review out before Christmas, but somehow after this, if possible. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, ideally we'll watch it tonight and then record it tomorrow morning and release it right after that.
It'll be our Christmas gift to you,
Oh yeah.
or Hanukkah, or anything else. I don't know, or
All right.
whatever else there is. I
Just
don't know.
everything. No, I get it. You're just trying to be nice to everybody,
It's
Justin.
2021. I don't
I
know.
know. All right. Well, everybody, this is a long episode, but we hope you enjoyed listening to Justin and I break down the Matrix, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and we're excited to talk to you tomorrow with the new one.
Yeah.